Appreciate you guys coming to be with us here in Studio B today. I know you got a lot to do later today, so we'll try not to keep you too long. Unspoken Tradition is here in Studio B. You guys ready to go? Let's mash one. Unspoken Tradition here in Studio B. That's a good one. Nothing but sky. That's a song that leads off the latest album, Myths We Tell Our Young. That album doing well for y'all? I mean, it is with my listeners. I mean, do you have a way to know? I mean, everybody's turned away tuning. They're not going to talk to me.
Sorry, we didn't discuss this part of the show.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we've actually it's successful by our standards. We're very pleased, and when we have people come to the shows and you can see people mouthing the words along, that's a good sign. So more than anything though, we just enjoyed making it, and we've enjoyed getting out and playing the music in front of people.
Right.
So.
Well, that song, man, I got to admit, I need to play that song right there a little more often on the radio. I've played some of the others, that came out ahead of the album and stuff, and unfortunately, I haven't played that. I'm gonna have to start playing that. And I like that tune, man.
We'd be okay with that.
I'm sure you would. But we've played Land. Land has probably been the most requested tune that I've had. But Dark Side of the Mountain and Force of Nature. I mean, they've all been popular tunes. So are those the ones you see folks singing to when you're out there and on stage and stuff?
They get requested quite a bit. So yeah.
Well, all right. And the title, Myths We Tell Our Young, that comes out of one of the songs. Is it Force of Nature? It's in the lyrics of that?
Correct. Uh-huh.
All right. Is that well, tell me about how that song came to be.
Force of Nature?
Yeah.
Well, it's a love song, man. But it's also about destruction.
Well, they two go hand in hand, don't they?
Well, yeah. I don't know. If my answer depends on whether my wife is listening. But, no,
we weren't talking about you.
No, this is about the condition of mankind, I guess. No, it's I remember. I'm an English teacher by day job, and ran across this poem. I remember reading it when I was in high school, and I've taught it in class. And it's about Ozymandias, and it's about this big sculpture of a king out in the middle of the desert in Egypt. And he says, at the bottom of the sculpture, it says something about like, lay your eyes upon my successful empire, but there's nothing there, And so, kind of wanted to embody or encapsulate that kind of feeling in the song. And it talks about how time erases all things except love. Mm-hmm. That's the idea.
Wow. That's
pretty deep for a bluegrass guy, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think some folks in bluegrass, get a little, I hate to use the word underrated, maybe underestimated in their depth. Bluegrass music has a lot of depth to it, and of course, like any other kind of music, don't you think that there are just little ditties that are fun and stuff, but there's a lot of depth in bluegrass music too, especially with groups like you guys who do a lot of original music. All of you writing? Are all of you contributing writing to the music you're working on right now and stuff you're playing?
Yeah, I mean, we have guys that, I don't know, I think everybody has his own duty, We have guys that come up with music when somebody else has words, and vice versa. Sometimes somebody will walk in with a song that's like got a bow on it ready to go, but that's rarely the case. But before it's all ready to go into the microphone, every man's put his part in. We all sit around and, discuss changes, and it's rare that a song makes it from, a little personal songwriting session to the studio without some kind of alteration or some kind of good idea that somebody else had. We kind of always try to crowdsource that at some point, so it's kind of got everybody's fingerprint on it, not just one person's.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what makes us unique in our sound.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching and listening to you guys. I was counting up. It's got to be over 10 years now, because when I first started seeing you guys, man, it was like at places here in the region,
Mm-hmm.
the eastern part of the foothills and the Piedmont area there, and at places like Steve Leatherwood's, and
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all played a lot of places in a circumference of the Cherryville area when you got started, and you've spread out around the world. So, that's something that's been fun to see. You and Zane are from Cherryville, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He never talks much. I can't ever get the banjo player to talk. He's, I don't even know if this thing's on. Like most,
That's funny. We can't get him to shut up in the van.
like most banjo players, though, he's frequently tuning stuff. So it's like, you know. But anyway, why don't you introduce the members, Audie, since you're doing a lot of the talking? Why don't you introduce everybody to everybody?
Okay, sure. So to my left here, because this is no longer just radio. I know some people are watching live, which makes this even more nerve-wracking. But
and we all dressed up.
To my left, I'm assuming your right, is our fiddle player here, Tim Gardner. He's from Mills River, North Carolina.
Cool.
And he is a banjo builder by trade. And he lives over there near the Sierra Nevada plant. So, yeah.
That's what we think of at Mills River.
That's why we practice at his house all the time, you know. To my right, my direct right is Mr. Sav Sankaran. He is our newest member, going on approximately a year, right?
Yep.
He came to us right about not too long after we finished recording the album and stepped in and just did a phenomenal job filling some big shoes. And it's really, you know, we're really just proud and happy to have him along.
Bass and singing too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And a new daddy recently.
Yeah.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Yep, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And then to Sav's right is Mr. Ty Gilpin, hailing from Asheville, North Carolina. And Ty has been in this since, well, I don't know, probably about year 3 or so. We ran across this guy by way of Darren Aldridge. And he hooked us up and introduced us to Ty, and he's been instrumental in the development of our sound and this band as well. Fun guy to be around.
Instrumental.
Can you, pun intended, right? And
But
now it's you're probably starting to realize that this is the most I've ever talked, ever. It's
outside of class.
Yeah, but actually more people are listening to me right now than in class, so it's okay.
That's probably true a lot of the time, right?
Yeah, it is. Home, school, everything. No, and then over on the far end over here on the 5-string banjo is my brother Zane McGinnis, and he is from Cherryville as well, currently living in Lincolnton, North Carolina.
Lincolnton. And he's got a lot more beard than the last time I saw him.
I know, yeah.
It's the Lincolnton effect. Can I ask you a Lincolnton question?
Sure.
Is Cotton Seafood still open over there?
It is.
Good deal.
Up
Good.
on is it Business 321?
Yeah. I'm way overdue to CK and the gang over there, man. It's a long haul from my house over there to eat, but it's worth it. All right.
Told me I'd have brought you some.
Oh, man, thank
Zane
you.
is the foodie in the group.
I never would have guessed. Anyway, like me, man, just carry it proud, brother. All right. Y'all ready to do another song?
Absolutely.
Unspoken tradition right here in Studio B today.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Unspoken tradition live in Studio B. That's another one from Myths We Tell Our Young. Good old Paula Breedlove, Brad Davis song there. Dark Side of the Mountain. Sav on the lead vocal. Nice job, my man.
Thank you so much.
Distinctive voice, I think. Who was above him in the harmony? That's a pretty high song. Was that you?
That was Zane. Nah.
Yeah,
that was me.
it was you. Okay, I couldn't tell if it was you or Tim, but I was like, whoa, because when you first came in with that high part, it's like made the hair on my neck do that thing. that thing.
That was one of the best things about coming into the band is there was already some great material for me to take over. So,
yeah, that's a good tune right there. You know, I wonder, do you remember when y'all heard that song? Who did the demo of that Paula Breedlove song?
Brad, I think, put together.
Brad did it?
For that, yeah.
Okay, I figured he might have, but they write some good stuff together, I'll tell you. And a lot of the other album, like we talked about, is y'all's original music. There was something else I was going to ask you about, and like I told Ty before we came in here to do this, I said I made notes because I'm going to forget something, and this is something I was going to ask you that I didn't make a note about. So here we stand. I was going to ask you, well, doggone it. You've got a great following around here, but you also all throughout the Southeast now, and you guys played the Station Inn a while back, right? That wasn't too long ago, was it?
It was back in March? April. Yeah, it was in April.
Was it?
Yeah, so it's been a little while.
Where does time go? It sold out, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
You know,
it did.
Never been there. What is that stage like? I know it carries a lot of status these days to play there.
It's pretty legendary. I mean, it's one of those places that you walk into and you instantly can feel like the ghosts of the the past shows in there, man. It's there's a lot of
He's going all rhyming on us here.
there's a lot of good vibes in there, man. It really is, and it's old. Got the concert posters all over the walls and the wood paneling, and it's just a cool place. It's got a lot of down home personality, and being able to go in there and play. Just even being able to step on that stage was cool. And then after the fact, we realized we had sold it out. I was like, wow, kind of cool. I knew it was a good crowd, but didn't know it was that good.
It's surrounded by hotels and condos now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck
like
in
this
it's
time
odd.
capsule of
Yeah.
music tradition, and I think they're putting a W Hotel right next to it, so that's going to be quite a juxtaposition there.
Well, that might make it a little easier to sell out down there. I don't know, but you can tell when you got a good band in there. I was really proud for y'all on this record. In fact, I didn't realize this until I was reading some information. The album debuted at number 5 on the Billboard Bluegrass chart. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, and,
yes, it is.
and the song you guys just did, it went to number 1 on Bluegrass Today, which I don't want to say this and hurt anybody's feelings. A lot of people, that's the chart a lot of people follow for bluegrass singles and stuff and gospel singles and stuff. Bluegrass Today to me is kind of one of my guideposts when I'm deciding on our rotation. So
Sure.
I'm really proud for you guys. How does the change in feeling for you different nowadays than it was back when you were playing just around Cherryville, Shelby, Lincolnton kind of? I mean, do you feel a lot more pressure, or is it you just get up there and just have a good time, or?
No pressure.
The pressure has been extremely high from the beginning. It hasn't changed. No.
Well, no one's more surprised about our success than us.
Really?
No, honestly, it's for me. I know at least. I don't know. I don't know how the other guys feel, but it's like those small incremental things. You just keep your head down and you keep doing it, and then one day you come up for air and something big happens, and you're like, wow, But then you realize that you've kind of been climbing that hill all along, But and I don't want to sound. I don't know what I'm trying to get at here, but I certainly don't want to sound like self-important or anything like that in any way at all. But I think for so many of us, it's just about, or all of us really, it's the primary thing is about making the music and having fun and getting to travel a little bit and see things and do things that we wouldn't have been able to have done with people we would have never even gotten to meet. And you're getting to go and spend time with these folks in these places and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know, when it's about that kind of thing and then something really cool happens along the way, you look up and you're like, oh, it's kind of, I mean, it is kind of surprising to us when stuff like that happens, because I think even though those things are great, I don't think it's ever really been, for me anyway, it's never really been my focus. It's always been just about making good music with good people. And
Yeah, at the end of the day, we just like to pick.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've known about these guys ever since I've been seeing them. But you've gone up levels from where you started. But as an observer who's watched and listened from practically, I guess, the beginning, y'all may agree or disagree with me on that. My observation is that you've had personnel changes, things have happened for you, you've made more albums. But to me, the Unspoken tradition sound has stayed pretty much, within what I felt like you guys were going for at the beginning. Am I correct? Is that accurate to you guys? I mean, doing it, or has it gone a little direction that you don't mind, but it's different?
No, I think that sound has always been embedded in there, and I think early on, like very early on, like maybe when you would have seen us around at some of these local places, I think, and before some of these guys were even in the band, I think we were still trying to figure out how to get the sound we were hearing in our head out of us, and then we found it, and I think, the personnel shifting and evolving and everything, and sometimes those personnel changes were, sometimes they put us in a bind, and we got really lucky that we had somebody available to step in, and then that would evolve the sound a little bit here and there, things like that. But it's all worked out, and over time, I think we've been fortunate enough that the changes and the additions and all that along the way has actually helped uncover that sound that for me has been buried in there all along, So as we've we've evolved, and it has emerged. And I think you're right. Like, that sound has always been there, but I don't think it would have been as realized if it hadn't been for, everything we've been through. So
Things happen for a reason, even personnel changes, and sometimes that brings out what you're looking for. I guess that's what you're saying, and that's what I got from what you were saying. So that pretty much answers my question. But I've loved y'all's sound ever since the beginning. So and however you've evolved, it's just to me gotten better. Are you still doing some of the old tunes? Like, let's see, I used to get requests for stick shifts and safety belts. Do you ever do that one still live or no?
Much to Audie's chagrin,
No.
just because it's high and he has to sing it very loudly. But yes, we do that one quite a bit.
The Bullet, that was a great. That's one that the crowd's always liked. I remembered, so I'm sure you do that one.
We still dip into the deep tracks,
The deep tracks.
so to speak.
Well, I don't know if the next one will be deep, but are y'all ready for another song here? Oh, sorry, Ty. Get a drink if you need one.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, though, this song, speaking of personnel changes, this was one that was written by our former singer, songwriter, and bass player, Lee Schufer. I want to be sure to give a shout-out to him.
Yeah, Lee's a cool dude.
Founding member of the band, and wrote this song. This is on a snow day. It's a good snow day song. It's about Colorado and snow.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sorry.
we'll get Zane ready here, and we'll play a little this one written by Lee, and thank him. Thank you for your service, Lee. Let's see, we tried here.
Give me 1 second. I got the dry throat.
We're really dry in here today, huh?
Well, like I said, I don't usually talk so much, Joe. That's what it is.
I'm sorry. I can't do all the talking.
I know that's part of the experience. I got it.
Unspoken Tradition live here in Studio B. More great music from Myths We Tell Our Young. Yeah, great tune. And Sav on the lead again. Nice job, man. I love it.
Thank you.
Love it. You guys are at the ISIS Music Hall tonight. What's showtime, Ty?
I want to say 8:30, and West King String Band is going to be playing before us to a nice set. Be great to hang out and hear and meet those guys.
Where are they from? I'm not that familiar with them. You don't know either?
I'm not sure.
Florida, I think.
Florida? Okay.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Sorry if we're wrong about that,
They're going to be great. Just come hear great
blame
music
the host.
wherever they're from.
There you go. There you go. Right. I was like I said, I was proud for y'all being at Station Inn. It was also a cool moment when you guys were playing the Watson stage at Merle Fest. I bet that was a great feeling, wasn't it? And mentioned that today being Merle's birthday and all.
It was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
I remember being at Merle Fest. I wasn't there in the flatbed truck days, but not too long after they finished the big stage. I remember being there as a little tyke. I mean, one of my first memories of live music was, those videos on YouTube of the Bluegrass All Stars.
Oh yeah,
9 Pound Hammer and Freeborn. I was there for that. I remember that.
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely a good place to cut your teeth, and being able to go back and play there was something else.
Were you already playing music when you were going there?
I was 5. No.
So you hadn't started that young, huh?
No, but I remember going up there after I started picking too. I mean, Mom and Dad take us up there every couple years, and so saw some great acts up there. And yeah, I remember maybe in the early 2000s going, and I'd been picking for a little while at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching them, watching the artists through a guitar player's eyes instead of just as a music fan's eyes, later on. So,
A little different, isn't it?
yeah.
It
sure
all at
is.
once, you're more appreciative of what they're doing, but also a little more analytical about what
Sure.
they're doing. Mm-hmm. You're like, wow,
Just amazed.
What was that run?
Just amazed.
Yeah, right. And also, this is a memory too for me. Was when Miles Between was featured on World Cafe. That was the album before this one. And that I was so happy because you guys are like hometown boys to me, right? That was pretty cool to be on NPR's World Cafe. You remember that?
Yeah.
He's looking like, wait a minute, were we on there?
No, I was. I didn't want to cut you off. I was just waiting.
Yeah, the host.
No, that was. I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, as somebody that's been lucky enough to have grown up 45 minutes from where I'm standing right now, and I've listened to WNCW for as long as I mean, I really think my dad, like in the truck, he just turned it to 88.7 and broke the knob off. You know, like that's all. That's the only station we listen to.
As it should
That
be.
is the only station growing up. I'm serious. I mean,
Man, that's a testimonial right there.
So to hear,
We got that on tape, Sean. All right.
so, but yeah, to be, you know, to be able to hear your music played here is incredible enough, you know, and then to know that it made it onto the World Cafe was just, yeah. I mean, we're just super grateful. Super grateful.
Cool deal. Well, we're super grateful to have you guys today, and I hope the show at ISIS tonight sells out just like the Station Inn did, and there'll be wall to wall and armpit to elbow and all that good stuff.
Well, they
tonight.
told me that you were going to buy the rest of the tickets, Joe.
Whoa.
He said tickets. I thought he was going to say beers there for a minute, but anyway.
Well, that can be arranged.
Nah. Where do folks get in touch with Unspoken Tradition on the interwebs?
Well, we got a website, unspokentradition.com. We are also on Facebook if you just look for Unspoken Tradition, and we run an Instagram page as well. So, I mean, anywhere in those three places in particular, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music. You can really find our albums anywhere that you stream music. So it's already in your pocket, you know. Yeah, so.
Well, ISIS tonight. Any other close shows coming up close?
We got Boone at the end of the month, and it's the 20, well, that last Saturday of February is.
Yeah.
Up at the Boone Saloon.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And all the way looking ahead to the fall, we're going to be at the inaugural Earl Scruggs Festival that WNCW is putting on.
Thanks for pitching that.
Yeah, being Shelby base group or Terryville base right there up the road. We're so honored to be at the first Earl Scruggs Fest and down in Tryon, which is between here and Asheville. So we're just glad to be a part of that, and thank you all, and Steve Johnson and all the folks at the Scruggs Dinner for allowing us to come out and pick some for that one too. We are privileged and honored, and we're raring to go for that one. It's going to be a great lineup. I know you guys just announced some new the headliners.
Old Crow Medicine Show and Ricky Skaggs of Kentucky Thunder are the latest announcements, I think.
Yeah.
Labor Day will be here before you know it.
I didn't even know about those two yet.
So we're taking the weekend off. We're staying down there.
I'm going to be there all weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks again for the great songs and stuff. I'm going to wrap it up and get my tail back down to Studio A down there. But again, thanks for coming in, doing some music with me. And live Studio B sessions on WNCW made possible by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.